Hello, I'm Eric.
And I'm Melissa.
And welcome back to our celebration of 30 years with the Sega Master System. Today we're going to talk about the various Sega Master System software formats.
I can't believe these are all different.
Yeah, it's a minor thing, but Sega advertised it, and so let's talk about what we mean by this. We're going to start with the basic. This is a Sega cartridge. Nothing special to it, but you'll notice that prominently displayed on the front, it says the Mega cartridge.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's pretty big.
So, what does that mean?
I don't know.
It means that this particular cartridge has 1 megabit of storage. ROM chips are typically measured in bits. You put a bunch of them together to make a byte. This is 1 megabit, which translates to 128 kilobytes of data for the game. So the whole game fits in 128 kilobytes. I don't even think there are screenshots that are that small anymore. So, so this was their first and smallest cartridge, the Mega cartridge.
Okay.
And then they went to let's do this one next. Then they did something called the Combo cartridge. This is actually just a Mega cartridge also that happens to have two games on it that are small enough to fit in 128 kilobytes. So in this case, it's Hang On and Safari. So these games are no bigger than 128 kilobytes together. And then, as the system progressed and memory got a little cheaper, they went to the 2 Mega cartridge, also prominently displayed on the cover. And then they doubled down on it. Twice the Mega Power. Well, Mega Power is just ROM capacity. Yeah. So Space Harrier was one of the first ones I knew about. I think Phantasy Zone 2. There's a number of these. These are therefore 256 kilobytes of storage. Wow.
Well, this had a lot going on the screen.
Yeah, this is impressive to be in 256K. All right. And then the Afterburner. Wow. 4 Mega cartridge.
Does it say that?
Yeah, right here.
Oh my goodness. The
4 Mega cartridge, 4 times the capacity of a Mega cartridge, which puts this thing at a whopping 512 kilobytes. Incredible. I don't know how many of these there are. There certainly, as the generation, as the games progressed, the memory got cheaper and more games were fit into 4 megabits. All right, but they didn't stop there. With the launch of Zelda for the NES, battery backup became a thing.
Yes.
And so Sega, of course, launched their line of battery backup cartridges, which they called Plus. They added the moniker Plus. So we have a Mega Cartridge Plus, which is 128 kilobytes plus a battery backup. This is Penguin Land. The battery backup is used to save the levels that you've designed.
So in these, this was play it all, or that's it?
Play it. If you turn off the power,
this is old school.
Like Alex Kidd, you lose the power, you start from the beginning.
Oh, that's when you leave the power on.
You leave the power on all night.
And then you come back the next day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the Mega Cartridge Plus had a battery backup. And then there was also a 2 Mega Cartridge Plus. It says here right on the spine, a 2 Mega Plus cartridge. This is one of my favorite games, Miracle Wars. It's an RPG. It was big enough to fit in 2 megabits, and it needed a battery to save your game. So this actually had a battery backup save. But the creme de la creme, the best of all possible cartridges, and one of the best games on the Master System, of course, is...
I even played it.
Yep.
Phantasy Star had the 4 Mega Plus cartridge.
Yep.
This is the king.
That's right. So one of the things, interesting things about this is that unlike the NES, the Sega Master System really doesn't have a lot of mappers. And if you're familiar with emulation or whatever, you know what NES mappers are. It's the memory management chip. The Sega Master System really, Sega only really used, there were a couple depending on the mega size, but they were all compatible with each other. They all kind of worked the same way. So this guy represents the most sophisticated, best mapper. It could support 4 Mega, which is 512 kilobytes, and it could support paging battery RAM, the battery backup memory, in and out of memory. So quite a nice mapper on that one. They were all pretty much compatible. So that pretty much does it for the cartridges. There weren't a lot of variants, at least not in the U.S. If you move to the UK or if you go to the European library or the Brazilian library, they had third parties like Codemasters. There were some Korean mappers, and I think there were some Tectoy mappers that were a little different. But so they might have had bigger cartridges or different, but Sega definitely advertised these mega cartridges, and all it really means is megabit.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, let's talk about that little guy on the end, which is not a cartridge at all.
Mm-mm. It's a card.
It's a Sega card, yeah.
Which I never understood why they had this. Like, why the difference?
I don't know, just to be cool, just to have these little tiny...
Just a gimmick, like a...
I think it was a gimmick. Little tiny thin cards. They went right in the front here. That's where the 3D glasses also went, so you're not going to find a 3D game on a card. But yeah, it was just maybe to have something to throw in your pocket. They were, one thing about them is that they were cheap. They were probably cheap to manufacture, and it turns out while the Mega cartridges had 128 kilobytes, these guys had 32 kilobytes, which would make them quarter mega power.
Yeah.
Obviously, Sega wasn't going to blast that all over the cover.
Right.
They're not going to advertise, we got a quarter mega.
Yeah.
These things could be as large as 32 kilobytes. They don't have mappers at all. They fit into the microprocessor's memory space natively. So, yeah, they were just cheap little fun things to carry around in your pocket, I guess, no bigger than a credit card. And of course, made famous later by the TurboGrafx, as famous as the TurboGrafx was in the US, that they used these kinds of cards for their entire, the only media that they used, though I suspect they were probably bigger than 32 kilobytes at that time. So, that is it for the different kind of formats the Sega Master System has, and now you know what is meant by a Mega cartridge.
So that's it for this video. Be sure to check out our channel for more on our Sega 30-year celebration.